Five Nights at Freddy's, Clawmarks-Chapter 12. What? Afton exploded. He whirled on the boys. Which one of you little bastards left the crumb trail behind for your buddies to follow? Vicky tried to reason with him. Master, to have nothing to do with... Afton slammed the gun against Vicky's face, making her fall with a yelp. Shut up, just shut up, he screamed, beating her with the shotgun's barrel. Vicky curled up in a ball as he continued ranting. If I want to bloat him to kingdom come, I can. It's not your place to decide. Understand? Vicky tried to get to her feet, only to be beat with the gun again. Understand, Will shouted, frightening the kids even more. Vicky wearily nodded. Yes, sir, she answered. Good, Afton growled. Now watch them, I have to take a piss. Will left and slammed the door behind him. Vicky got up, groaning. How can you just let him do that to you? Tommy asked. The animatronic didn't answer. She slumped up against the door and sighed, closing her eyes. Watch the kids, Vicky, she mocked. How can they go anywhere if they're tied up? Nate looked over at Tommy. Hey, he said. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. So are my friends. Right, guys? Warren and Harry nodded in agreement. Whatever you say, Nate. We're sorry, Tommy replied. It's fine. For now we must keep our wits about us if we want to survive. Don't count on it, kiddos, Vicky said. Once William Afton gets you, there's no way out. The boys looked at one another, then back at Vicky, who stared at them, about as disinterested as a predator who isn't hungry. Hey, Vicky, right? Harry tried. You're so quick and clever, unlike the other bots. Why can't you just help us so we can help you? Vicky laughed. You think it's that easy, like that's the equation here? She asked. A bunch of clueless children. Help me? I'm above humans, especially little pipsqueaks like you. Warren tried next. Doesn't that mean you're above that purple dude? Vicky opened her mouth, then thought for a minute. Was she catching on to them? Finally, she said, I suppose, but when it comes to Will, you must wonder what part of him counts as human anymore. Tommy took a deep breath and scooted towards her. It was risky, but if it meant getting out of here sooner, it was a chance he had to take. It's just, I feel bad for you. No one ought to be hit around like that, not even you. I bet you're a really nice lady deep down. Vicky's eyes flickered for a moment. Then she gave the kids a sad smile. It is rather unfortunate that kind children like you happen to be caught in the crossfire. But I don't know how I can help you now. Nate was getting impatient. I don't understand, he cried. You're a big, strong robot and he's some stupid man. All I have to do is pummel him and he's done for. The hybrid shot to her feet and walked to Tommy, startling everyone. Instead of harming the child, she lifted him into her lap and rocked him a bit, as if pondering something. There's so much you don't understand, sweethearts, she purred. If I could single-handedly rip Afton to shreds, I would. Tommy was bewildered. And somehow you're still okay with killing us? He asked. Vicky responded. Of course not. Then after some whispers under her breath the others couldn't make out, she gave them a determined look. You know something? You kids are right. I was going to promise you that I would at least make it quick, but I've been in this filthy business for far too long, and I no longer want any part of it. Nate seemed suspicious. How do we know this isn't some trick? Why should we trust you? He demanded. Vicky put Tommy back with the other boys and put her hands on her hips. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm the only thing standing between you and that madman, she growled. I think it's time to stop being a bad guy, and to make things right again with Freddy. Vicky didn't seem vicious anymore. If anything, it looked as though a new spirit had come over her, like she was fighting her violent code off for the sake of the greater good. Almost as if to prove it, she untied the boys. She seemed happier, as if the thought of Freddy made her different. You like Freddy? Harry asked. Vicky giggled. No, I love him. I'm going to make things up for him. The boys groaned. Just get us out of here already. Vicky got them to their feet when the door flew open. Well, what do we have got here? Will asked with dangerous softness. Vicky said, They tried to escape, sir. I was just putting the ropes back on. Will was eerily quiet. See? Vicky said, approaching the boys with the rope. I'm tying them right... Now, guys, go! The boys ran and dodged as Will fired at them. With a roar, Vicky sunk her jaws into his arm. Son of a bitch, he shrieked, beating her as hard as he could. Stop, a voice screamed. Jeremy grabbed Will's other arm and tried to maneuver the evil man over to the wall. Max grabbed Tommy by the hand. There's a police officer waiting outside, he told him. Take you and your friends to safety. Jeremy shouted something unintelligible, and Max turned to see blood streaming down his friend's nose. Will had punched him and tore Vicky off of him, leaving a jagged wound that bled profusely. Max, look out! Jeremy screamed. It was too late. Will swung the gun at Max, sending the engineer to the floor. Max saw stars, and as he tried to adjust his vision, it cleared up to focus on the gun's barrel. "Stay down," Will barked before whirling the gun on Jeremy. "You too, pretty boy." Then realization dawned on him. Vicky was missing. Max didn't know where she went off to. The hybrid was nowhere in sight. "Vicky?" Will whispered, though his voice was very shaky as he said it. "Where are you, girl? I'm sorry." "Can we at least talk about—" Vicky materialized behind Max. She flew past him and bit into Will's shoulder. Afton screamed in horror more than pain, struggling to pry her off again. This was their chance. "Go, go," Jeremy yelled, helping Max to his feet before practically dragging him through the hall. The kids were already outside of Clay, or rather, the entire Hurricane Police Department. "Hold your fire," Clay shouted before picking up a megaphone. "William Afton, come out with your hands in the air before I come in there myself." Jeremy whispered to Max, "If a high-tech animatronic can't kill him, what can?" Max didn't know. Will thundered past him, took one glance out the window at all the cops, then angrily turned to Max. "There's nowhere left for you to go, Will," he said calmly. "Please, just stop this." Will swung the gun upwards, aiming straight at Max. Jeremy yelled, "Whoa, whoa, enough!" Afton didn't hear him. "Do you know what they do to men like me in prison?" he thundered. "I'm a dead man, Max, and so are you." The shotgun went off with a blast that sounded like a cannon. Something threw Max to the floor. He looked up to see Vicky, who looked scared as she looked him over. It was like she was worried he was hurt. Then she fell off of him. Oil streamed from her stomach. "No!" Max cried. "I'm sorry, Max," Vicky whispered, "for putting you through all of this." William laughed. "What a waste." He aimed the gun between Vicky's eyes, who weakly stared at him with defiance. A loud roar thundered from across the pizzeria. Before Afton even had time to turn toward the noise's origin, Freddy slammed into him, snapping the gun in two and bringing Will to the floor. Freddy chomped Afton's hand, a deafening crunch following after. William definitely felt that. He screamed in agony, retching and gagging. Tears poured down the man's face as he uselessly tried to beat Freddy away with his free hand. The bear tore away, ligaments and bone fragments hanging from his blood-drizzling jaws. Will once more pushed Freddy off, leaving a bloody handprint on the animatronic's face. Vicky, though hurting, crawled towards them. What Will did next was very strange. He started pushing at the tiles near his head. It was almost as if he were typing in a code. While he was occupied, Freddy turned to face Vicky. A look of concern flashed on the bear's face. "Don't let him go," she coughed. Max screamed as a pair of endoskeleton arms ripped from William's guts and shoved Freddy off. The floor gave way beneath Afton, and he nearly fell to the depths below. Vicky latched onto his leg, but was hanging on by a paw to the floor's ledge. Max raced over. "Vicky, hold on," he said. Vicky was barely keeping her eyes open, and her grasp was slipping. She weakly smiled at him. "It's too late for me, Maxie, but I finally got this evil man. See how scared he looks?" She coughed again, then continued, "Even if he escapes, nobody's free from their own conscience. One day guilt will catch up to him, and it's a debt he must pay for the terrible havoc he's brought upon the lives of the innocent." Vicky fell, but Freddy snatched her paw. It was still slipping, and no matter how hard he pulled, he couldn't hoist her back onto the ledge. Freddy's friends had shown up at this point, and they tried to help grab Vicky, but there was no room for all four of them. The bear shook his head, tears streaming down his face. Vicky looked at him in the eyes. "I know you don't like me all that much," she whispered, "but I do love you, Freddy, and I'm sorry. I tried to help." Then she fell. Freddy roared and nearly toppled after her, but his friends grabbed him by the shoulders and lifted him away. They hugged the bear, who was inconsolable. Max went numb, and he barely heard Jeremy's voice through the white noise playing on loop in his thoughts. "Let's get out of here, Max. She saved your life, now let's go." After examining the children, the cops found no injuries sustained during the hostage situation, thank God. Despite searching the underground electrical maintenance area, plus the forest surrounding Freddy's, William Afton and Vicky were both never found. Afton was assumed to have escaped town. Truth be told, Freddy became quite cold towards Max and snapped at him to go away. Ironically, despite what had been going on for the past couple of months, Fazbear Entertainment found a new manager who said he'd wait another year or two before reopening Freddy Fazbear's Pizza again. Jeremy and Max parted ways to their homes after talking to Clay some about their adventure. Then it started to rain.